فهو درب به نور به ترقى به تحيا عالما حرا فخور.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. اللهم إنا نسألك وحدك حسن الخاتمة وأن تختم لنا بما ترضاه لنا وعنا آمين آمين. أما بعد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Furqan, ayah number 16, while he is talking about the people of the fire and the people of paradise, and he make a comparative between those and those. Ayah number 16 has something unique. And I think this is the only ayah in the Mus'haf has this comment from him upon himself. He said in this ayah, لَهُمْ فِيهَا مَا يَشَاءُونَ خَالِدِينَ. They will have in paradise whatever they desire. It will be fulfilled. And this fulfillment will be from whom? From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But look what he said at the end of this ayah. He said, كَانَ عَلَى رَبِّكَ وَعْدًا مَسْئُولًا. It's upon him a promise with a responsibility. You can ask him to fulfill his promise as he promised you in this life. Means this ayah is very deep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator, he said, "O my worshippers, when I promise, you have to ask me, you have to question me, you have to beg me to fulfill my promise to you." And this is indirect way also applied upon us. If we promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should fulfill our promise to him, because he will ask me and you about our word, about our promise, about our agreement with him. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say, "Hey, my ibad, you can ask me." For that reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this indirectly in different positions in the Quran. In one of the famous dua in the Quran, Allah said, "Rabbana wa atina ma wa'adtana ala rusulik." O Allah, give us, fulfill your promise upon your prophets and messengers. So he asked me and you to ask him to fulfill his promise. So khalidina fiha, yes, they will be in the paradise forever. And this is a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this promise is what? Subject to ask to fulfill for your side in the day of judgment. For that reason, out of this verse, we can get to the main topic for me in this khutbah. How can I be responsible in my life if I'm not in the level of respecting myself and respecting my tongue and respecting my promise? As a Muslim, if you are an individual or as a community or as a hukam, rulers and kings and presidents and people in power in our community. For that reason, إخواني أخواتي, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is watching His people in this universe. He is not sleeping, He is not out of control. For that reason, how many times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Baqarah, just in Surah Al-Baqarah, He said, وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا يَعْمَلُونَ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. How many times? A lot of times. Allah is not ghafil. Ghafil means He doesn't know. Allah never been in that status that He doesn't know what's going on. No, He knows. He knows. And He is counting for each one of us, Muslim or non-Muslim, believer or disbeliever, people in positions or people without even any title. Everything in this life is documented. And we learn this early in the school. We have two angels, they are responsible to copy and document every single word or action we are doing in this life. For that reason, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to the sons of Adam, very famous story in all the divine books, He asked each one of them to give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala qurban. And this is now the test. When you are in a position that you have to give for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what you will give. One of them, he go and pick the best that he had. The other person, he said, nobody knows. He picked the worst thing he had in his property or his wealth. Look at the situation. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who will apply justice. He looked at the two qurbans from both of them, and He accepted the one that he gave what? The best that he had. For whom? For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, indirect, but directly for Himself. وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم مِّنْ خَيْرٍ لِأَنفُسِكُم. Whatever you give for yourself today, you will see it tomorrow. So it's not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ وَأَنْتُمْ الْفُقَرَاءُ. Allah He's not in need for us. He's not in need for our ibadah. We need it. So you save it for yourself in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have to be careful what kind of thing you want to save for yourself for tomorrow. وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ ابْنَيْ آدَمَ بِالْحَقِّ. It's not a joke, it's not a fake, it's not something we created and we said this is the words of God as others did and doing these days. إِذْ قَرَّبَا قُرْبَانًا. How many Muslims these days, sons of Adam, indirectly, we do offer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the worst thing that we have, and we keep the best thing that we have for ourselves. This is how you measure your relation with your iman. This is how you measure if you are really fulfill your promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not. فَتُقُبِّلَ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا. So Allah what accepted from one of them, and absolutely, who were that person that Allah accepted from him? The one who gave what? The best. وَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ. And Allah rejected the qurbani of the other son of Adam. Both belong to the same father. Both belong to the same prophet. Both been raised in the same house. Same food, same time, same education. But this is how you are responsible for your action, for your deeds, and you will be in the day of judgment in front of those records. اقرأ كتابك. Each one of us, he will receive a book in front of everybody he belonged to. For that reason, my message to our leaders in the Middle East, in the Far East, in the West, in the East, all Muslims, remember the day of judgment that you will be in front of everybody receiving your book. Read. كفى بنفسك اليوم عليك شهيدا and hasiba. Everything being written in this book, it will be in front, public record. Public record. And over there is no Russia, and there is no Europe, and there is no nuclear weapon, no US, no government, no military, no secret service. Nobody will protect us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except two things. Your sincerity today and His mercy tomorrow. We ask Allah to be qualified to have His mercy for tomorrow. Say Ameen. This is the challenge. This is the ham that you have to carry in your life. For that reason, when you read the history is full of incidents like what we are suffering from these days. This is not the end of the story. It's just a stage in the history and the age of the human being. And believe me, this time will be end. You will turn the page one day and you will keep talking about the past. You remember when we had this and this and this? So the major duty for me and you today, to have your reaction, to stand for your faith and to stand for your haqq. Because it doesn't make any sense. Up to this moment, you will see people analyzing the situation between the haqq and the batil, and they still say, we don't know. It's a fitna. We don't know where is the haqq, where is the batil. Okay. If you don't know, really you don't know, that's fine. But if you are delaying your reaction, your mawqif, Allah Azza wa Jal is witness, and He knows we don't know what you hide inside your heart. Nobody has a heart raised the word of La ilaha illallah will stand with the batil against the haqq. No one. For that reason, ISIS, I swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no one from their followers finished his 6th grade. They know nothing. The most ignorant people in the community, they know nothing about Islam, about life, but maybe they have little bit kind of desire, some kind of smelling of iman. They can cheat them and send them to kill people, and they will raise the hand. I did my pledge to my Khalifa. He did the pledge to his Khalifa. And you will see very soon that your Khalifa is a fake. And he's working against Muslims, and he's working to demolish the image of our Islam. But believe me, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? Allah said, where do you want to go? إِنَّ شَانِئَكَ هُوَ الْأَبْتَرُ. But we are sorry for those youth. They have nothing to do, no job, no knowledge, no education. There will be a beautiful target for such people like those. For that reason, where you can find in our Quran or our Sunnah that if he is not Muslim, you have the right to kill him. Where? Let me know. Let us see where you find in our traditions, even not religions, that we are subject to kill those that they are not following our faith. Where? Who can say this? If I can marry a non-Muslim woman, how you ask me to kill my wife? How? Come on. So you have to raise your voice that Islam is absolutely something different than those crazy people, abnormal, under drugs, cocaine, whatever they are living with. They drag them, put them in this track, go, this is the key of the Jannah. Believe me, immediately he will go to the fire. This is not a joke, and no doubt about that. For that reason, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted of one of those two brothers, the other one, he said, what? God accepted from you and refused me? I will kill you. I will kill you. Here is the problem. Nobody is willing to blame himself, and we are ready to blame others. If Allah accepted from you means you are my enemy, I will kill you. The other son, what he said? He said, brother, believe me, I have my faith, I have my iman. I can't force you to do anything, but I will let you know. If you have intention to kill me, I will not do it. I will raise my hand and die for the sake of my principle and for the sake of my iman. And that person, he killed his brother. And you know the story after that. For that reason, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I am responsible for my promise, we have to learn from this the following. Since 100 years, we saw Arabs, a lot of movements in the Arabs' history and Muslim history. We saw a lot of harakat and jama'at and tanzimat, a lot of parties, groups, movements here and there. And everybody assume and claim that he is the one who carry the haqq. And we end up with what we are suffering from these days. We have to analyze and say, where is the problem? Where is the mistake? Ya ikhwa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He announced this in the Quran from Fatiha to An-Nas. Two things you have to combine together to be a successful person in any job you want to do it. Even if you are contractor to do properties, you build houses. Number one, the sincerity. Number two, the knowledge. It's not enough to be sincere to Allah, praying Fajr, Dhuhr, Maghrib, Asr, Isha in the mosque. You do Qiyam Layl, you know Tajweed rules, you pay your zakah on time, but you are out of the knowledge. You know nothing about politics, you know nothing about economy, you know nothing about how to treat countries and how to do treaties, how to speak in public, in the media. It will not be enough. You will be a failure. And that's what happened in Egypt recently. Because it's not enough to be a good Muslim. Sheikh, what you are talking about? I'm talking about reality. You know Abu Dhar? If you know Abu Dhar, raise your hand. Abu Dhar, Sahabi. Now you know him, am I right? Sahabi. He saw the Prophet, peace be upon him. He saw him. He lived with him. And Allah mentioned the Sahaba in the Quran. The best of the best among the Muslim Ummah as nationwide. He came one day and he raised his hand. Ya Rasulullah, hire me. Hire me. Abu Dhar, from his point of view, I'm a Sahabi. I pray Fajr in the masjid. I know Quran. I know Sunnah. I'm a good person. So I'm what? I'm qualified to be what? A hakim. Hire me not to go with the lamb or the sheep. No, hire me a wali. He said, ista'milni. This is the word in Arabic. Ista'milni, put me amil, means wali, hakim. And over there, hakim, not for a state like Texas. Maybe you have like half of the Arab's country. All Hijaz, all south or east, wherever location. You want to be in position, in power. What was the answer? No, you are not qualified. Oh my Allah. Abu Dhar yes, he's not qualified. Our Muslim leaders, they thought that they are always qualified to do everything in any time, with any people, under any cost. This is what we are suffer from. We have a disease that nobody appoint to himself that I'm not qualified for this job. So, to be sincere by itself, it's good, but it's not enough. You have to have the knowledge. You have to have the experience. You have to have the networks. You have to have the relations. You have to have the art of talking, art of negotiate something with others, art of smiling, art of selling. Politics is not a game, it's not a joke. It's skills together in addition of taqwa Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For that reason, if you are not sincere to Allah and you have the knowledge, also is not enough. You have the knowledge, but you are working for yourself. As what we are suffer from today, from our people that they belong to us, and their names is Muhammad and Ahmad and Mustafa and Abdullah and Khalid and all the names, and Bashar and etc. Maybe they have the knowledge, but they are not working for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are working for themselves. So then the result will be what? Also, there will be failure. And who will pay the price? Al-Masakin, the poor people. They pay the price. One day, one of the leaders of the militaries branches in the time of Umar al-Khattab, he came with the report. Yeah, Amir al-Mu'minin, we lost a lot of people in the war, in the battle. But don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Know that much people that we lost from those that you know them. Ya salam. He did this mistake with whom? With Umar. Immediately, he fired him. He said, what they will benefit from the knowledge of Umar about them. It's enough that Allah knows them. You are not qualified to be in the position. You are fired. This is the way of people that we are looking for these days. I don't know anything called decoration. Sincerity and knowledge. Sincerity and knowledge. And I don't care about if the people are happy or not happy from you or from me. It's enough that I intend to make my Lord happy from me as He asked me to do. Not ask what my nafs or my soul desired me to do. This is our problem. For that reason, you will see people, mashallah, if you look at them, beautiful. Beards, Quran, masajid, hijab. But if you go and talk to them, go and deal with them, you will immediately understand that there is something wrong. There is something wrong. Khwani, when you read this ayah 16, Surah Al-Furqan, you will start shaking. Oh my Allah, if Allah asked me to ask Him about His word, means you can ask Allah, you can question Him, you can, hey God, you said this and this, please fulfill your promise. He said that you have the right to do that. What about us in front of Him? What about us, or our leaders? Why you are willing to kill with no even doubt about your relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Kill people, kids, women. Why? Is this the reason that we are here as Muslims? Absolutely. I'm not here a media channel to start analyze their faith or their iman. This is not my job. But here is the problem. We have to encourage ourselves, encourage our kids, encourage our families, daddy, father, wife, daughter. This is the way that you have to live as Muslim. There is no decoration in the aqidah, in the faith. No doubt about that. You have to be sincere to Allah, no doubt about that. But you have to also to go and learn. Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge is power. When we came to America, and we start see things we never saw in our countries. Now we can analyze why our Arab countries and Muslim countries are in the back of the caravan of the human being. Why? Because our leaders are subject of make fun of them from any other power in this universe. I will put myself in the opposite statement. Imagine that I am the President of the United States of America. I will work hard to fool those people to make what? Benefit for my country. He has the right to do that. If you are a fool in front of me, why I have to care about you? And those, believe me, they know nothing except pay money to hire people to work for them. And they know nothing, exactly as if you ask, for example, a doctor to open auto shop, to fix cars, mechanic shop. He knows nothing about how to open even the hood. And he will hire somebody, am I right, to work for him. This somebody, he will test you from day number one. Oh, he know nothing. He know nothing? I will play in the yard by myself. He will cheat, steal. He will make deal with customers to go to their yard to fix their cars out of your place. Am I right?
Yes.
والمثل شو بقول؟ اللي مش كارو كملوها يا نارو. If this is not your field, I'm sorry for you. They will cheat you. Imagine our kings and presidents and chairmen and whatever in power, they know nothing. And they don't have absolutely sincerity. So imagine, no sincerity for Allah and no knowledge. So they work for themselves. As somebody said, ibadul that, abdul that. He's worshipping himself. He's ready, he's willing to do anything just to justify for himself to be in power. For that reason, I read one day this statement, I will finish with it. Very beautiful statement. He said, the one who wrote it, if you see a person, the money for him is everything, he is willing to do for the money anything. We ask Allah the rahmah, say Ameen. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فيا فوز المستغفرين استغفروه وادعوه وأنتم موقنون بالإجابة. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. In addition of what I said, any human being, if you put him in a position with power, if you put him in a position that he has power, and absolutely he has benefits out of this power, with the years something will happen to him, psychological. He will start believe. In the beginning, maybe he knows that it's not a fact, that he's lying to himself, but after a while he will believe what he lied. He will start to believe that I am one of this location, I am part of this position, wherever it harms the position will harm me. And wherever it harms me will harm the position. So the country is me and I am the country. And everybody in the country belongs to me. I own everything. And nobody can do it except me. If I'm not there, everything will shut down. This is how the mentality of any person, if you put him in a power, forever. For that reason, my statement as a person, I know some knowledge. I say and I announce, we don't have ruler forever in the Islamic education. No person should be in power forever or lifetime. This is not correct. Somebody will come and tell me, hey, what about Umar and Abu Bakr and Uthman? Bring me like them and let them be in power forever. No doubt about that. Just bring me like them. Where are they? They are not exist anymore. So if you put any person in power lifetime, the result will be what we are suffer from these days. Because he will be part of the position. That's it. Everything belongs to me. And he will cheat. And he will create a secret army. He will go and buy people and He will hold them to use them in the moment that he will be in a risk or in a danger. And in that moment, you will see what he can do in the community. لا يرقبون في مؤمن إلا ولا ذمة. They don't care about relative or religion. They care about themselves. This is our problem, and we have to avoid it for the future. What happened, it happened. But no doubt about the end is coming. The Syrian people, the Palestinian people, the Jordanian, the Lebanese, the Iraqi, everyone suffered from those. It will not stay forever, no doubt. The end is coming, the final is coming, because justice has to be taking place. This is the promise of Allah. Sallu ala Rasulillah. No doubt about that. But the doubt now about your statement as a believer. What you are saying these days. Are you part of those, or you are raising your hand? Ya Allah, I'm out of what they are doing over there, and ask Allah to avoid my family, my people, my brothers, sisters. The war and the killing, as what happened in Halab last week, and what will happen in the future. This ummah, especially the Arabs, they are under a big ibtila of those that they are in power since 1917. Since 1917, we have those people that we don't know how they come to the power. And wallahi, I say it, and Allah is witness. I hope that, or I wish that they are dictators, but they serve their countries. I don't care. At least work for your country. Work for your people. Make their life easy. Stay. But the opposite is what happened. Every country in this universe goes forward, and our countries not stand in the same spot. No, goes backward. Why? This is the reason. For that reason, Ikhwani, if you stay quiet all your life, nothing will be changed. Because if I am here in the power, I want those to be over there, because whatever I ask them, yes sir, no question asked. No question asked. They are willing to help, they are willing to donate, they are willing to do anything to stay in their positions. And for the people, nobody cares about them. We ask Allah ar-Rahmah, and we ask Allah to, at least with this intention, that Allah will look at us and He will change our situation. Ameen, ameen. Allahumma arhamna.